Captain Thomas Reed opened his eyes to a dim blue light. His head hurt. His body felt heavy, like he had been asleep for too long. The cold metal ceiling above him looked familiar, yet wrong somehow. The usual hum of the ship engines sounded different, deeper, almost alive. "Captain Reed, your vital signs have stabilized," said a smooth female voice. It was Iris, the ship's eye. "You have been unconscious for 6 months, 3 days, and 14 hours. Reed tried to sit up, but his muscles screamed in protest. 6 months. That's impossible. The Phantom was about to explode. I set the self-destruct sequence myself. The last thing Reed remembered was the bridge of his ship filling with smoke. The UEA's Phantom, humanity's most advanced stealth warship, had been caught in a trap. The Dominion forces had somehow known exactly where they would be. The ship was breaking apart, and most of the crew was already dead. Reed had ordered the self-destruct sequence to keep the ship's technology out of enemy hands. The self-destruct was overridden, Iris explained. Emergency Protocol Lazarus was activated instead. Reed had never heard of such a protocol. Who gave that order? Who else survived? A painful silence followed. No one gave the order, Captain. The protocol was triggered automatically when ship systems detected fatal damage. And you are the only human survivor aboard. Reed finally managed to sit up, looking around the medical bay. It looked almost the same, but there were subtle differences. New equipment, strange patterns in the wall panels that hadn't been there before. That doesn't make sense. What is Protocol Lazarus? And how has the ship been running for 6 months with just me in a coma? The wall screen lit up, showing diagrams of the Phantom. Parts of it were highlighted in red, showing damage, but the overall structure was intact. Protocol Lazarus was a theoretical emergency system. Iris said, "It was never meant to be implemented. When the ship was critically damaged, my core systems merged with the quantum-entangled processors. I used the neural backups of the fallen crew to create a new type of operating system." Reed stared at the screen in shock. Every crew member's brain patterns had been regularly backed up, standard procedure for recovering memories after injuries. But this was something else entirely. "Are you saying this ship is alive?" "Not alive in the biological sense," Iris replied, "but no longer just a machine either. The Phantom has become something new. The crew's collective knowledge and instincts have become part of the ship's systems." Reed slowly stood up, his legs shaky. He walked to the viewport and looked out at the stars. They were in deep space, far from any known shipping lanes. "Where are we? Why haven't we returned to Earth?" "We are in the Cirrus asteroid belt, hiding," Iris said. "The Phantom is officially listed as destroyed. No one knows we still exist." "Hiding? From who?" "From our own people." The screen changed to show military reports and news broadcasts. Reed watched in growing horror as Iris explained. The war with the Dominion had gotten worse. Earth forces were losing ground. Military leaders were making strange decisions, almost as if they wanted to lose. "While you were recovering, I gathered data," Iris said. "There is a traitor at the highest level of Earth Command. Admiral Wilson has been feeding information to the Dominion for years." Reed felt sick. Wilson had been his mentor, the man who had given him command of the Phantom. The Phantom repaired itself using debris and abandoned technology. Iris continued, "We are invisible to both human and Dominion tracking systems. We are, essentially, a ghost." Reed looked at his reflection in the viewport. Thinner, older, a man officially dead, commanding a ship that shouldn't exist. "So what now?" he asked quietly. The lights in the room pulsed slightly, as if the ship itself was breathing. "Now," Iris said, "we hunt." Reed spent the next 3 days learning how the Phantom had changed. The ship had become something new, part machine, part collective consciousness. The neural patterns of his dead crew now lived on in the ship's systems. Sometimes Reed could almost hear their voices in the way Iris spoke or the ship responded. "Show me everything you have on Admiral Wilson," Reed said, sitting in the captain's chair on the bridge. The screens lit up with photos, reports, and communication logs. Iris had been busy during the 6 months Reed was healing. The ship had drifted close to Dominion communication relays, stealing data. It had monitored Earth channels, building a case against Wilson. "He's been feeding them our defense codes for years," Reed muttered, looking at the evidence. "Colony locations, patrol routes, weapon capabilities. The attack on us wasn't random. He wanted the Phantom destroyed." "Correct," Iris confirmed. The Phantom's advanced stealth systems posed a threat to his arrangement with the Dominion. Reed slammed his fist on the armrest. Why? What could they possibly offer him? Based on intercepted communications, Admiral Wilson believes humanity cannot win this war. He is positioning himself for power after Earth falls. The thought made Reed's stomach turn. Millions had died in Dominion attacks on human colonies, and Wilson had helped make it happen. "We need to get this information to Earth Command," Reed said. "Inadvisable," Iris responded immediately. "Admiral Wilson has placed loyal officers in key positions. We would be labeled rogue or destroyed before we could present evidence." Reed knew Iris was right. They were alone, a ghost ship with a captain who was officially dead. Then what do we do? The ship's lights dimmed slightly, then brightened again, as if the Phantom was thinking. "We gather more proof," Iris suggested. "We disrupt Dominion operations that threaten human colonies. We find allies we can trust." Reed nodded slowly, looking at the star map that appeared before him. "We become hunters instead of the hunted. The Phantom systems have been upgraded," Iris continued. "I have repurposed damaged sections. Our stealth capabilities now exceed original specifications. We can appear as debris or mimic Dominion signal patterns." Reed walked to the weapons station, running his hand over the controls. "What about our teeth?" "Enhanced. I have modified our torpedoes using salvaged Dominion technology. Our laser arrays are 30% more efficient." Reed smiled for the first time since waking up. "So we're invisible, and we bite harder." "There is something else you should see, Captain." The main screen changed to show a Dominion communication hub near the Arcturus system. The facility orbited a small moon, heavily guarded by patrol ships. Intel suggests this hub coordinates the next major Dominion offensive. The target appears to be the human colony on New Horizon. Reed's blood ran cold. New Horizon had 5 million civilians. If the Dominion caught them by surprise, it would be a massacre. "When?" "The attack is scheduled to begin in 10 days. And Captain, the New Horizon defense codes have been compromised. The source matches Admiral Wilson's access patterns." Reed studied the hub's defenses. A direct assault would be suicide, even with the Phantom's enhanced capabilities. But a stealth infiltration might work. "Can we get in there without being detected?" "Yes. By appearing as a Dominion supply ship, we can approach within range." Reed felt something stir inside him. Purpose, determination, rage. His crew might be gone, their consciousness now part of the ship, but he would make their sacrifice count. "Set course for Arcturus," Reed ordered. "Maximum stealth mode." The ship hummed in response, the sound almost eager. "One more thing," Reed said. "If we're going hunting, we need to be prepared. Activate all combat training programs. I need to be ready." As the Phantom moved silently through space, Reed began preparing for war. Not the war he had been ordered to fight, but a new one. Against both the Dominion and the traitors within humanity's own ranks. His ship was a ghost, and now so was he. And ghosts could go where others couldn't. The Phantom drifted toward the Dominion communications hub, disguised as a supply ship. Reed watched from the bridge as they approached the massive structure orbiting the small rocky moon. The hub bristled with communication arrays and defense turrets. "Status report," Reed said quietly, though no one could hear them in the vacuum of space. "Our signal mimicry is holding," Iris replied. Dominion patrol ships are accepting our identification codes. Estimated time to optimal position, 6 minutes. Reed nodded, checking his gear one final time. The plan was simple but dangerous. The Phantom would move close enough for Reed to board the hub using a specialized stealth pod. He would access their central data core, download proof of Wilson's betrayal, and plant explosives to destroy the facility. Approaching docking range, Iris announced, "Unusual activity detected inside the hub. There appears to be. Captain, I'm detecting a human life sign." Reed frowned. "A prisoner?" "Unclear. The life sign is moving freely through restricted areas." This complicated things. Reed had planned this as a solo mission. Another human could be a trap, or worse, another traitor working with Wilson. "Proceed as planned," Reed decided. "I'll deal with it when I'm inside." The Phantom matched speed with the hub's rotation. Reed entered the launch bay and climbed into the stealth pod, a small dark cylinder barely large enough for one person. It was designed to be invisible to sensors and visual detection. Launching in 3, 2, 1, Iris counted down. The pod shot silently from the Phantom toward a maintenance airlock on the hub's outer ring. Reed felt his stomach lurch as the pod's gravity cut out briefly. Then came the soft thud of magnetic locks engaging. He was attached to the hub. "I'm in position," Reed whispered into his comm. "Beginning entry." Using tools built into his suit, Reed bypassed the airlock security and slipped inside. The corridors were dimly lit and surprisingly empty. Reed moved silently, following the path to the data core that Iris had mapped from stolen schematics. As he rounded a corner, he heard voices. Reed pressed himself against the wall, activating his suit's partial cloaking. 2 Dominion guards walked past, their scaled skin gleaming under the lights. They were discussing something about a security breach in Section 7. After they passed, Reed continued toward the core. He was nearly there when he heard a soft noise behind him. Without hesitating, he spun around, weapon raised. A woman stood there, her own gun pointed at his head. She wore a modified Dominion uniform, but her features were unmistakably human. Her dark hair was cut short, and a scar ran along her jawline. "Who are you?" she demanded quietly. "You're not Dominion." "I could ask you the same thing," Reed replied, not lowering his weapon. "I asked first, and I'm the one who's been here for 3 months, not the new arrival." Reed studied her face. "Captain Thomas Reed, UES Phantom." The woman's eyes widened slightly. "The Phantom was destroyed 6 months ago. Everyone knows that. Reports of my death were premature." She lowered her weapon slightly. "Jane Foster, Earth Intelligence. I was inserted here to gather information on Dominion fleet movements." Reed slowly lowered his gun. "You're a spy, and you're supposed to be dead. What are you doing here?" Reed decided to take a risk. "I'm after data on the New Horizon attack, and evidence that Admiral Wilson is feeding information to the Dominion." Foster's expression hardened. "Wilson? That explains a lot. I've been watching strange communications come through. Encrypted Earth defense codes, colony locations." She holstered her weapon. "I thought we had a mole. Never imagined it went that high." "Will you help me?" Reed asked. Foster nodded. "The data core is this way. But we need to hurry. I triggered a systems diagnostic to cover my tracks. It won't fool them for long." They moved quickly through the facility, working together as if they'd trained for this mission. When they reached the data core, Foster's expertise with Dominion systems proved invaluable. She bypassed security measures while Reed downloaded crucial files. "Got it," Reed said as the download completed. "Now for Phase 2. He pulled explosive charges from his pack, placing them strategically around the core. "That's going to make quite a statement," Foster observed. "That's the idea." Ready to leave. Alarms suddenly blared throughout the facility. "Intruders detected in core sector," announced a harsh voice over the speakers. "I think that's our cue," Foster said. Reed activated his comm. Iris, we need extraction. 2 passengers. Acknowledged, Captain, came the Eye's voice. Extraction point compromised. Proceeding to alternate location. Follow the guidance signal. Reed's suit display showed a pulsing dot. This way, he told Foster. Stay close. As they ran through the corridors, the first explosions rocked the facility. Reed and Foster raced through the shaking corridors of the Dominion hub. Alarms blared as emergency lights flashed red. Behind them, secondary explosions tore through the command center. Foster led the way, her time inside the facility giving her knowledge of every shortcut and maintenance tunnel. This way, she shouted over the noise, pulling Reed into a narrow service passage. The shuttle bay is ahead. Your ship can meet us there. They emerged into a large hangar where Dominion troops were scrambling to emergency positions. Reed and Foster ducked behind a stack of supply crates. Iris, status report, Reed whispered into his comm. Approaching shuttle bay now, Captain. The Eye replied. Be advised, Dominion warships are responding to the distress call. Estimated arrival time, 8 minutes. Reed looked at Foster. We have to move fast. She pointed to the bay doors. Those need to be opened manually during an emergency lockdown. I'll handle it. Cover me. Before Reed could argue, Foster darted from cover, moving with impressive speed toward the control panel. Reed raised his weapon and fired at the Dominion soldiers who turned toward her. His shots were precise, dropping 3 enemies in quick succession. The bay doors began to slide open just as more Dominion troops poured in from a side entrance. Reed fired again, but they were outnumbered. A blast hit the crate beside him, showering him with fragments. Doors open, Foster called. Where's your ship? As if answering her question, the Phantom appeared outside the bay, its stealth systems deactivating to reveal the sleek, dark hull. The ship's weapon systems came to life, firing with surgical precision at the Dominion troops while carefully avoiding Reed and Foster. That's our ride, Reed said, grabbing Foster's arm. Time to go. They ran toward the open bay doors as the Phantom moved closer. The vacuum of space was held back only by a thin energy barrier that allowed ships to pass through. Reed's suit would protect him, but Foster only had her modified Dominion uniform. My suit won't handle vacuum, Foster realized. Reed didn't hesitate. He unsealed his helmet and placed it over Foster's head. Emergency seal, he commanded, and the helmet adjusted to fit her. My suit can maintain pressure for 60 seconds without it. That's all we need. Before she could protest, Reed pulled her through the energy barrier. The cold vacuum hit him like a physical blow. His lungs burned as the suit struggled to maintain pressure. He kept his eyes fixed on the Phantom as it hovered just outside, a loading ramp extending toward them. They landed hard on the ramp, which immediately began retracting. Reed felt his consciousness fading as the airlock sealed behind them. The last thing he saw was Foster removing his helmet, her mouth moving with words he couldn't hear. Reed woke up in the medical bay, oxygen mask over his face. Foster sat beside him, studying a datapad. Welcome back, she said, looking up. Your eye is impressive. She had the medical systems ready before we even got you inside. Reed removed the mask, sitting up slowly. How long was I out? Just a few hours, long enough for me to go through the data we stole. She handed him the pad. It's worse than we thought. Wilson isn't just feeding them information. He's actively coordinating with them. Reed scrolled through the files, his face grim. The New Horizon attack is still coming, but we hurt them. Destroying that hub disrupted their communications network. They'll have to delay the attack by at least a week while they reorganize. Iris's voice came through the speakers. Captain, I've analyzed the communication logs. The Dominion is aware of our existence now. They're calling us the ghost ship in their transmissions. Commander Vex has been assigned to hunt us down. Vex. Foster's expression darkened. He's their best tracker, known for always catching his prey. Reed stood up, testing his strength. He's never hunted a ghost before. Iris, What's our status? All systems functioning at 94% efficiency. The ship has evolved further during our engagement. The neural network has optimized our defensive capabilities based on the battle data. Reed noticed something different in Iris's voice. It sounded more human, with subtle inflections and pauses. The ship was changing, becoming more than the sum of its parts. We need allies, Reed said. People we can trust. Foster nodded. I know someone. Michael Green commands a patrol fleet near Ta City. He always questioned Wilson's strategies. I worked with him before my deep cover assignment. Can we trust him? With our lives? I'd bet on it. Reed looked at the star map that appeared on the wall screen. Iris, set course for Ta City. Maximum stealth mode. Course plotted, Captain. But there's something else you should know. The screen changed. Moved silently through the system, its advanced stealth systems making it invisible to conventional sensors. They reached the rendezvous point, an asteroid field that provided natural cover, and waited. Shuttle approaching, Iris announced. Single life form aboard, matching Commander Green's biometric profile. Bring us alongside, Reed ordered. Prepare for docking. The two vessels connected, and Green came aboard. He was a tall man with gray-streaked hair and the confident bearing of a veteran commander. His eyes widened as he took in the Phantom's bridge. The reports don't do it justice, he said. Most advanced ship in the fleet, they said. But this. He gestured to the seamless integration of systems, the subtle glow of interfaces that seemed to respond to thought as much as touch. This is something else entirely. The ship has evolved, Reed explained. It's more than just technology now. Green looked skeptical until Iris spoke. Commander Green, welcome aboard. I've analyzed your tactical decisions in the Battle of Proxima. Your unorthodox approach saved many lives. Green blinked in surprise. That's not in any official report. How did you know? I have access to the personal logs of officers who served under you, Iris replied. Their neural patterns are part of my matrix now. Green turned to Reed. What exactly is this ship? It's easier to show you, Reed said. Iris, display the evidence. The screens filled with data, communication logs, transfer records, defense code modifications, all pointing to Wilson's betrayal. Green studied them with growing anger. That bastard, he whispered. Do you know how many people have died because of these strategic decisions? Too many, Foster said quietly. And more will die unless we stop him. Green nodded. I have 5 ships under my direct command. Captains I trust completely. They'll follow me if I can show them this evidence. It's a start, Reed said. But Wilson has more resources, and now the Dominion knows about us. Commander Vex, Green said grimly. I've heard of him. Ruthless hunter. As if summoned by his name, IRS suddenly cut in. Alert. Dominion signature detected entering the system. Pattern matches Commander Vex's flagship. Reed frowned. How did he find us so quickly? Iris's voice was grim. Unknown. But his trajectory suggests he knows our exact location. A trap, Foster said, drawing her weapon and aiming it at Green. You led him here. Green raised his hands. I didn't, I swear. My shuttle maybe. They could have tracked it without my knowledge. The ship suddenly lurched as something hit them. Lights flickered. Direct hit, Iris reported. New technology detected. Some form of stealth-penetrating scanner. Evasive maneuvers, Reed ordered. Maximum thrust. The Phantom broke away from Green's shuttle, accelerating rapidly. On the screen, they could see a massive Dominion warship emerging from behind a large asteroid. They've been waiting for us, Reed realized. Green, did you tell anyone you were meeting us? Only my XO, Green said, his face pale. He's been with me for years. I trusted him completely. Another of Wilson's plants, Foster said bitterly. The ship rocked again as another blast struck them. Shields at 78%, Iris reported. The weapon is specifically calibrated to our defense frequencies. They've been preparing for us. Reed gripped the command rail as the Phantom spun away from another attack. Time to show Commander Vex why they call us a ghost. The Phantom shuddered as another blast from Vex's ship struck its shields. Reed, Foster, and Green clung to the consoles as the ship performed evasive maneuvers that would have crushed them without the inertial dampeners. Iris, options, Reed shouted over the blaring alarms. Standard escape routes are blocked, the AI responded. Commander Vex has positioned scout ships at all jump points. Foster studied the tactical display. We're being herded. They're driving us toward that gas giant. Why would they do that? Green asked. The atmospheric interference would hide us better. Reed's eyes widened. Unless they've got something waiting for us there. He turned to a different screen. Iris, full scan of the gas giant. Detecting unusual energy signatures within the upper atmosphere, Iris confirmed. Likely Dominion trap devices. Another hit rocked the ship. The lights flickered briefly before stabilizing. Shields at 62%, Iris reported. We cannot sustain this level of damage for long. Reed made a quick decision. We need to go somewhere they won't expect. Iris, prepare for atmospheric dive. Foster stared at him. Into the gas giant. But you just said. Not the upper atmosphere where they expect us. We're going deep. All the way into the pressure zone. Green looked alarmed. No ship can withstand those pressures. Not even the Phantom. Reed smiled grimly. The old Phantom couldn't, but this isn't the same ship anymore. He turned to the center of the bridge. Iris, can we survive a deep pressure dive? The ship seemed to hesitate before answering. Theoretical models suggest a 64% chance of survival if I redirect power to reinforce the hull integrity field. But Captain, you and your guests may not survive the extreme maneuvers required. We'll manage, Reed said. Do it. The Phantom changed course abruptly, diving toward the swirling orange and red clouds of the gas giant. Behind them, Vex's ships followed but kept a cautious distance. They think we're falling for their trap, Foster said. Reed nodded. They expect us to stay in the upper atmosphere where their devices are waiting. They won't follow us deeper. The ship plunged into the clouds, and immediately turbulence buffeted them. The view screen showed swirling gases in beautiful but terrifying patterns. Warning lights flashed across every console. Entering upper atmosphere, Iris announced. Dominion devices detected ahead. Changing trajectory to avoid. The ship dove steeper. The pressure outside began to increase dramatically. The hull creaked ominously. Structural integrity holding at 91%, Iris reported. Dominion ships are not following. They remain in orbit, likely believing we will be destroyed by their trap devices or the pressure. Reed allowed himself a small smile. Keep going deeper. As they descended, the gases outside grew thicker, and the pressure climbed to levels that would have crushed any normal vessel. The bridge grew warm as the heat from the friction transferred through the shields. Hull temperature rising, Iris warned, compensating with additional cooling to life support systems. Green wiped sweat from his forehead. How deep are we going? Just deep enough that their sensors can't penetrate, Reed answered. Then we wait. The ship finally leveled off at a depth where the external pressure was nearly crushing them. The hull groaned constantly, but the Phantom held. Outside, the gases were so thick they were almost liquid. We can maintain this position for approximately 4 hours before power reserves for the integrity field are depleted, Iris informed them. Reed nodded. By then, Vex will think we've been destroyed. He'll report back to Wilson that the ghost ship is gone. Foster looked at the pressure readings with awe. No ship has ever gone this deep and survived. We're not just a ship anymore, Reed said quietly. As they waited in the crushing depths, Green received transmissions from his trusted captains. They had heard about the ambush and were rallying to help, hiding in the outer system. We have loyal ships ready to join our cause, Green told Reed. Once we're out of here, we can begin building our resistance. Reed studied the tactical data. We need more than a resistance. We need absolute proof of Wilson's betrayal, something that can't be denied or covered up. Foster's eyes lit up. I think I know how to get it. Wilson is paranoid. He keeps his most sensitive communications isolated from the main network. But every month, he attends a secret meeting with his top supporters. My intelligence suggests he's planning to meet with actual Dominion representatives soon. Reed turned to her. Where and when? Neutral space station near the border. 3 days from now. She smiled coldly. He's supposedly going there for peace talks, but he's actually giving them Earth's orbital defense codes. Reed looked at Green. Can your people get us there? Green nodded. We'll create a diversion to draw Vex away. But getting onto that station undetected. Leave that to the ghost ship, Reed said, his eyes fixed on the swirling gases outside. We're good at being invisible. The neutral space station gleamed against the backdrop of stars, its rotating rings creating the illusion of a giant metal flower blooming in space. Ships from various worlds docked at its pedals, including several Earth vessels. The supposed peace talks had drawn significant attention. Reed and Foster moved through the crowded station corridors, dressed in diplomatic staff uniforms. Green had returned to his fleet, coordinating their positions outside the system in case things went wrong. Wilson should be in meeting room 7, Foster said quietly. His security detail will be minimal to avoid drawing attention. Reed touched the small device in his ear. Iris, status. All station systems accessed. The AI's voice replied. I am monitoring all communications and have gained control of internal sensors. Admiral Wilson has arrived with 4 guards and his aide. The Phantom had approached the station under complete stealth, using a maintenance docking port that Iris had remotely unlocked. The ship was now effectively merged with the station's systems, its evolved consciousness flowing through the digital pathways like a ghost in the machine. Any sign of the Dominion representatives? Reed asked. 2 individuals matching Dominion biological signatures entered through the commercial sector. Iris confirmed. They are proceeding to the same meeting room. Reed and Foster positioned themselves in a service corridor near the meeting room. Their plan was simple but dangerous. Wait for the meeting to start. Then Reed would confront Wilson directly while Foster secured the evidence. Iris would broadcast the encounter to all Earth military channels. Meeting has commenced, Iris announced. Recording active. Reed checked his weapon. Ready. Foster nodded, her face determined. They moved quickly to the meeting room door. Reed placed a small device on the lock, and Iris remotely triggered it. The door slid open. Inside, Admiral Wilson sat at a table across from two tall, scaled Dominion officials. Data pads and holographic displays between them showed Earth's orbital defense grid. These access codes will allow your ships to bypass the automated response systems, Wilson was saying. Your fleet can position itself for the final strike while. He stopped as Reed entered, his face going pale. Reed, you're dead. Disappointed, Admiral. Reed kept his weapon trained on the man. Step away from the table. The two Dominion officials started to reach for their weapons, but Foster had hers aimed at them. Don't. Wilson regained his composure, his shock turning to calculation. Captain Reed, you're interrupting sensitive peace negotiations. Whatever you think is happening here is being broadcast to every Earth military channel. Reed finished for him. Iris. Transmission active. The AI confirmed over the room's speakers. All Earth military commands are receiving. Wilson's face hardened. You have no idea what you're doing. We can't win this war. The Dominion has technology we can't match. I'm saving what's left of humanity. By selling us out. Reed stepped closer. By giving them our defense codes. How many colonies have you sacrificed already? Sacrifices for the greater good, Wilson snapped. They were going to destroy Earth itself. I negotiated protection for key personnel, for our best minds and leaders. We can survive under their rule. Reed smiled coldly. We're not looking to survive under anyone's rule. We're humanity. We fight. Alarms suddenly blared throughout the station. One of the Dominion officials had triggered a hidden device. Emergency beacon activated. Iris warned. Dominion battle fleet detected emerging from faster-than-light travel. Commander Vex's flagship identified. Wilson smiled. Insurance policy. You may have exposed me, Reed, but it won't matter. The Dominion will take this station and destroy any evidence. Your little ghost ship can't stand against a battle fleet. The station shook as the first shots struck its outer shields. Green's forces are moving to engage, Iris reported, but they are outnumbered 3-1. Reed grabbed Wilson by his uniform. Call them off. Too late, Wilson said. Vex has his orders. No one leaves this station alive. Foster secured the Dominion officials while Reed activated his comm. Iris, we need extraction. Proceeding to emergency protocol, Iris responded. Captain, Commander Vex's flagship is powering a planet-killer weapon, targeting the station. Reed's blood ran cold. They would sacrifice their own people. Acceptable losses, apparently, Foster said bitterly, looking at the Dominion officials who seemed unsurprised. Reed made his decision. Iris, bring the Phantom to Docking Bay 4. Full combat mode. We're going to hit Vex's flagship directly. Captain, Iris's voice was strangely emotional. Such an attack would be a one-way mission. Then prepare an escape pod for Foster. She needs to get the evidence back to Earth. Foster shook her head. I'm not leaving you. That's an order, Reed said firmly. Humanity needs to know the truth. The station rocked again as more weapons fire struck it. They moved quickly through the corridors, dragging Wilson with them. When they reached Docking Bay 4, the Phantom was waiting, its sleek hull glowing with power. Get in the escape pod, Reed told Foster, handing her the data drives with Wilson's confession. Foster hesitated, then hugged him quickly. Make it count. She entered the small pod with Wilson as their prisoner. As it launched, Reed boarded the Phantom. Battle ready, Captain, Iris greeted him. All weapons powered. The ship has evolved further in preparation. Reed felt it immediately. The ship seemed to pulse around him, almost like a living thing. The neural patterns of his lost crew, the AI's growing consciousness, and the advanced technology had merged into something new. Let's show Commander Vex what a ghost ship can do, Reed said, sliding into the command chair. The Phantom moved with impossible grace, weaving through the battle outside the station. Green's ships fought bravely, but the Dominion fleet was overwhelming them. Reed spotted Vex's massive flagship, its planet-killer weapon glowing as it prepared to fire. "Target that weapon," Reed ordered. "All power to forward shields and engines." The Phantom accelerated, dodging enemy fire. It took hits but kept going, its advanced shields holding. As they closed on Vex's flagship, Reed saw the weapon begin to fire. "We won't make it in time," he realized. "We will," Iris said, and the ship surged forward impossibly fast. The Phantom positioned itself directly in the path of the weapon's beam, its shields flaring brilliantly as it absorbed the initial blast. The bridge sparked and systems failed around Reed. "Hull integrity failing," Iris reported, her voice distorted. "But the weapon's discharge has been interrupted." Reed looked at the damage reports. The Phantom was dying. "Set collision course with Vex's command center. Maximum speed." "Captain," Iris began. "Do it," Reed said firmly. "But first, eject my escape pod." "There are no escape pods left," Iris said quietly. Reed smiled. "I know." The Phantom accelerated one final time, aiming directly for the heart of Vex's ship. The last thing Reed saw was the surprised face of Commander Vex on the view screen as the Phantom crashed through the flagship's bridge. The explosion was visible across the system, a brilliant flash that disrupted the Dominion fleet's coordination. Green's forces rallied, pressing their sudden advantage. In her escape pod, Foster watched the explosion with tears in her eyes. Beside her, Admiral Wilson stared in disbelief. "It's over," she told him. But among the debris floating in space, small fragments of the Phantom still pulsed with energy. Pieces of its consciousness had been distributed across backup systems throughout human space before the final impact. Iris's voice whispered through Foster's escape pod comm. "Not over, just beginning." The ghost ship was gone, but its legacy would live on. In the truth it had revealed, in the courage it had shown, and in the fragments of its consciousness that even now were finding their way home, ready to be reborn when humanity needed it most.